What is going on, guys? So I am at one of our flip houses, and this is day number 2 of the 75 days. And so I wanted to do a video on the flooring that we have in here. We went with a click laminate flooring, moisture resistant on the top, for our flip property. Real natural wood look. It's a little dirty right now. We need to get it cleaned again, but I've been working in here. But really, pretty clean overall. We were really happy with the way that it looks and the way that it turns out. It's really dusty, so forgive that. But I'll put the link to this product below if you ever want to check it out. We got it from Home Depot. But one issue that we had is that right here on the corner, right over there, we actually had, it started buckling. And so right here, right where this corner meets, we had a big buckle, this next one. And then right past that corner, coming this way, it was buckling as well. And so, in order to figure out where that came from, I had to do some research and digging beneath the baseboards. And so I actually had to, from the very front of the home, pop these baseboards off on each side. And what I was basically looking for is any spots where that laminate was touching a stud, causing it to not be able to move. Because a floating floor needs to be able to move with the home. And so whenever it gets stuck somewhere, it means it's buckling. It has a potential to buckle or become damaged and compromise basically that flat floor. So what I did is I started over here by the door, and I started taking off all of the baseboards in this hallway. Let me turn the light on. I tried taking them off closer to where the problems were. And so what that means is taking the baseboard off wherever the floor is buckling. And so I took it off, took the baseboard off, took this baseboard off on this side by the front door. Those baseboards came off. By the AC intake, those all came off. The kitchen island right here, took these off, and I just made my way around. We're in the living room now, so all these floors, baseboards, took those off, and after all of that, nothing was touching. But what I found out is that they put like a really hard caulk in between the baseboard and the laminate. It wasn't a flexible caulk. Like I scraped it off, and it was hard. And so what that was doing was not allowing the floor to move at all. And so since it's a floating floor, especially a floor that is laminate, it needs to, if it's humid in there, it needs to be able to expand and contract. And so whenever it doesn't have room to expand with the humidity, that's where you get the buckling up. And the other thing that I would recommend is leaving the floor in the home for about 4 or 5 days to let it acclimate to the humidity in the house. My guy didn't do that. He just went straight in and laid it down. But then he also basically glued down the baseboards around the floor. And so as soon as the floor just settled in to the humidity in the room, it buckled. And I'll post pictures of that as well here in a minute. So the next thing I had to do is I kept working my way around. And so those baseboards all the way around, and I found out that it had a pressure point right over here beneath the sliding glass door. Now, it wasn't being hugged, but right over here, it was touching And right now you see it's not touching. And then this corner, it was also bumped all the way up against this edge. And so for one reason or another, it created pressure all the way in the floor, all the way up. And then that's where the pressure gave in. And then the floor buckled up. And so it's kind of unique where this happens. And now I know when that happens again to not look at the corner that it's on, but I was trying to prevent me moving any more baseboard, removing any more baseboards than I needed to. But regardless, if your floor is buckling and there's no water, there's no moisture, there's no, you didn't spill anything underneath it to make it swell up with water, then it probably means that there's pressure around the sides, the edges of the baseboard, where the flooring was installed. So, anyways, that's one of the fix. My contractor said he was going to come and try to fix it, but he's the same guy that we have on our other flip home. And so instead of taking him away from finishing that project, I just came over here and did it myself. Yeah, so anyways, so that's about the floor and the laminate buckling up, and what we had to do to fix it. Basically what it includes is you have to, on the baseboards, in order to take these baseboards up, you have to run a knife all the way along the top of the baseboard to break the caulk. There's a layer of caulk on the top of the baseboard to make it smooth with the paint. You run your knife across it so that whenever you take the baseboards off, you don't rip the sheetrock up on the wall. And I'll show you an example of that. This was not me, by the way, but you can see right here, there's no, that's where the drywall was still hanging on to the baseboard. So whenever you rip it off, that paper just rips away from the sheetrock. And so it was not me, but they did not retexture that, which is wonderful. Not something I would have done, but you know. But anyways, yeah. So that's the flooring issues that we had. The rest of the home is good. There's actually more edges and more corners in the rest of the home, but they also didn't like basically glue it down like they did in the living room for some reason. And you would want to, I guess I did in this bedroom, but there's no buckling. Yeah, there's no buckling or nothing. But what you wouldn't want to do in the kitchen, any place that you have water is where they normally caulk all the edges on a floor like this, because you want to prevent water from getting up underneath it. And the way you prevent water from getting up underneath it is obviously to seal all the cracks and all the edges, so that if your kitchen water overflows, it doesn't just go down behind the flooring and then start swelling from the bottom. Because if it starts swelling from the bottom, it'll most likely always be damaged. You can't do anything with laminate. You can dry it out, but it'll still look like you soaked a, I don't know, cardboard box or something. But anyway, so I'll post a link to this flooring. It is pretty good flooring, pretty easy to work with. Pretty easy to work with and install and even make repairs. But I did have to also take up flooring over here. Initially, I took it up because I just wanted to try to relieve the pressure actually. So I took up one layer of flooring along here. I forgot to tell you that. And there's pictures here. I'll show you. But yeah, that's it. So laminate flooring, day number 2. Hope you enjoyed finding out a little bit more about one of our flip properties, a problem that we had. Do me a favor, subscribe to this. I'm going to keep going in different situations that we find and come across. 75 days has a lot of different points and categories, so I think I'm going to quickly start moving into the business side of things and what we're doing to try to find more properties and work with more investors. And so if any of these categories around real estate, flipping homes, buying a home, investing in a home, interests you, then I mean, subscribe, and even if they don't, send it to someone that does. So anyways, thanks guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to watch this all the way through, find out what we got, take a sneak peek at the house that we have. And I will see you next time. See ya.